let's jump in.
All right.
Zurich has made some impressive strides in the recognition space, from the culture being reward based to one that emphasized meaningful non-monetary recognition.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that journey, but also
Yeah.
the why behind that you went on that journey?
Absolutely. When we launched our recognition platform back in, 2017, we were so focused on saying, hey, you've got all these points, recognize your employees. You've got points, recognize. And we were so excited that we had this formal platform that employees can recognize each other with, especially because employee feedback was saying that employees wanted this. But what we were doing without realizing it is we were tying rewards and recognition into one. And so we became very monetary focused and very reward focused. And we didn't really focus on recognition and meaningful recognition. And so we knew we needed to make a culture shift and a culture change. And that really started with the way we talk about recognition. And recognition is all about meaningful, consistent recognition. So even like the cards in our Spotlight platform, they are categorized, right? They were points-based, non-points-based celebrations. Like, what is that? And I was like, we need to change the way we talk about recognition in our platform when employees are going in there looking to recognize. So we changed our language to recognize the journey, reward the outcome, celebrate the occasion. Ooh. These are actions that you are doing when you're going in the platform and you're sending a recognition and things you should be thinking about. And we saw that. We saw the culture start to shift. We saw employees and managers start to step into that. We started to teach them and re-educate them on when is it the right time to recognize the journey, those small things, those small wins, and when do you reward outcome, and when to kind of separate the two. And by doing that, we were able to see it prior to that change. So we launched in 2017, 2019, we were hearing feedback from employees saying, hey, I'm not feeling recognized. And yet we were investing so much in recognition. And so after making all of this culture change, we saw nearly $1 million of savings, but also engagement scores in recognition go up.
Wow.
And that is just such an impactful story that I love sharing about how recognition is so important and it does not need to be monetary based to be meaningful.
Yeah, it's a great illustration of how you use a tool or HR technology is so much more important than what you use.
Absolutely.
And it's like making that shift from being focused on rewards to the intrinsic value of recognition and training employees across the organization to send meaningful recognition. It can be easy to say and hard to do. So you're just an excellent example of what good looks like.
To jump on that, I just hear so many people say, oh, recognition's this feel-good initiative. It's a nice to have. And I'm like, no, it is a business driver. It can help you reach your goals. You have to use it the right way. You need to be strategic on how you're using recognition. And when you do that and you're doing it the right way, you can achieve your business outcomes and goals. And that's just something that I continue to share with HR leaders when they come to me and say, hey, I need something that's an HR initiative to push the needle. I always point them to recognition.
I love that.
Yeah.
And as we know, like a lot of employee programs will start strong and fizzle out over time.
Yeah.
Recognition is obviously no exception.
Yeah.
I would love for you to share some strategies you've implemented to kind of keep the momentum going and ensure like long-term program sustainability.
Absolutely. With anything, people are excited in this beginning and you start to see the trickle effect. Yeah. And so one thing we do with recognition is throughout the year, we relaunch and we continue to launch campaigns. And these campaigns, again, strategic. We're strategic about what we're doing. Strategic focus campaigns to recognize our employees and reinforce that appreciation and employees feeling valued. A great example of this is our Employee Appreciation Week campaign that we run each year. It's actually our most successful campaign. It's a non-monetary card that we put in the platform for a week. And we encourage employees throughout the week to send recognitions for their peers to show their appreciation. And talk about kind of continuing the momentum. We have a theme each day throughout the week to help people continue to go back and reuse that card.
Every week?
Every
day.
Just the first, every day for that week.
Yeah,
It's that first full week in March. It ends on Employee Appreciation
Nice.
Day, which is the first Fridays of March. And yeah, every day there's a theme, and we are strategic about the themes. So one area we really saw as opportunity for Zurich was cross-functional recognition. We were really good about recognizing in our team and within our teams, but not as well about cross-functional and across business units. But we've got so much work that we do cross-functionally, and not just business, but we've got our employee resource groups, we've got our wellness champions, we've got all these things that we do as an organization that we can use recognition to recognize each other with. And so we encouraged cross-functional recognition as a theme of the day during that week.
Yeah, I love that.
And it increased recognition in cross-functional. So it's like we're using that week to build on areas we can improve and also encourage employees to send recognitions. And by the way, they're non-points based. Like coming back to what I was saying earlier, it doesn't have to be monetary to be impactful. And so we do these campaigns throughout the year, and we partner with different groups. We partner with our well-being champions. We partner with our employee engagement team. We partner with community investment. We work with areas in our organization that we know are important to our employees, and we put recognition at the heart of it.
Yeah.
So it's constantly pulling people back into the platform and sending recognition.
What gets recognized gets repeated.
That's
You want to
exactly
break down
right.
silos?
Absolutely. That's
Encourage
exactly
cross-functional
right.
recognition.
That's exactly
What I love
right.
about it as well is it's not something that's owned by your team or by HR.
Absolutely.
It's owned by every single employee.
Yes.
And that's when you know
Yes,
it's really working.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to ask is, how do you, you mentioned a few things, but how do you measure what success looks like?
You know, data. We're so data driven at Zurich. And what's so nice about our platform is all the data that's in there, and we're able to see how we're utilizing our platform. And what's also really nice is when I talk about data, it's not just the quantitative data, it's the qualitative data. So when we look at even our employee survey results, we're not just looking at our engagement score around recognition, we're looking at what people are saying. How are employees feeling? Are they feeling recognized? Do they feel like recognition is a key value at Zurich? Because it is, and we want to make sure our employees feel that way. And so, yes, of course, we look at the numbers and we make adjustments based on those numbers. That qualitative data to me is sometimes way more valuable.
Yeah.
And so we react to those and we build off those. And, you know, one thing I like to talk about is we have an organization of over 9,000 employees. It's so hard to touch every single one of those. I can't do that by myself. That's nearly impossible. And so when we work with a network of champions, which is called our Listen Champions, and they are highly engaged, high utilizers of recognition platform. They have admin access to our recognition platform. We use them to kind of share the information we want to make, any changes we want to make at Zurich, and they share that to the employees in their business unit. They own it. Like you were talking about earlier, like these are employees that are advocates of recognition. And they go to the employees in their unit, and also they're able to tell us, hey, this will work for us, or no, not for our unit. We need to make this a little more personalized or a little more customized.
I love that.
And we do that. And that's why recognition, I mean, we have a 99% activation rate on our platform.
Wow.
And last year alone, we had 100.
99%.
Yes. And last year alone,
That's too good to be true.
over 100,000 recognitions were sent.
Wow.
I mean, it is such a successful platform, and I attribute a lot of that to our Listen Champions.
Yeah. Before we let you go,
Yeah.
for those that are just starting their recognition journey, as you said, you've learned a lot
Yes.
along the way. What would be your parting piece of advice that you give to them?
I would say listen to your employees. Listen first, act second. Hear what they're saying, what's working, what's not working. And one of the things that I recently learned that we've really stepped into at Zurich, and I've seen the value of it, is, again, I've talked about non-monetary recognitions are impactful. We've learned that there are three of the top most impactful forms of recognition is senior leader recognition, paid time off, and company-wide recognitions. And senior leader recognition is the most impactful way of recognizing an employee. And if you really think about that, if you're an employee and you're getting a recognition from your manager, that feels good.
Yeah.
If you're getting a recognition from your senior leader, that feels fantastic. Like the work I'm doing is valued at that level. It's being seen, it's being heard. I mean, it makes sense to us. We actually have our most prestigious award at Zurich. Comes with a very nice monetary amount. It comes with a Crystal Award, a celebration. It's got all of these great things that the employee gets or the honoree gets. But the one thing that I keep hearing from the honorees that they appreciate and they value is the email they get from the CEO. Like, how simple is that?
I mean,
right?
it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
when I worked in sales for many years, and whenever we would get a deal, the CEO would come down and shake your hand. Like for years, we're talking about 300-400 people.
Yeah.
He did it for every single one.
I mean, that's so impactful.
And I remember, like, I would see, obviously I know how much commission I'm making, but I'd be like, oh, when's Andy coming down?
Yeah.
Because that would mean the most to me, because he's walking all the way through the floor,
And it makes
shaking
sense.
his hand, congratulating me. That meant more to me than any bonus.
Exactly.
That I got.
Exactly.
It gives them
Like-
clarity that they're working on the right things, and it helps them connect to the purpose behind their daily efforts.
Yeah. So senior leader buy-in, it's so important. Employee Appreciation Week, we had our senior leaders all send recognitions to employees in their business unit.
Yeah.
And again, so impactful. 18,000 recognitions just that week
Insane.
alone. So I would say that is something that's a key takeaway that I would share. But also listen to your employees, look at the data.
Yeah.
I think that's
Well,
what I would
Renad, we
share.
appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
You're
thank you for
an
having
absolute
me.
gem.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you
Congratulations.
so much for having
Thank
me.
you.
And
so
enjoy the rest of the evening, all right?
Thank
See
you.
soon.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.